Welcome back to the KBE Pod, y'all. Sorry, my voice is kind of doing crazy things. It's the end of the day. Looking back at week 9, it was kind of a disappointing week, if I don't say so myself. There are about 4 or 5 games this week that featured top teams playing each other. I was really expecting a lot more than what actually came to pass. You kind of expect a lot of points for a lot of the offenses, and yet we had, as far as our fantasy teams, tied for the worst showing with week 1, having 5 teams fail to get 100 points. I think it felt a lot worse for me because I was finally one of those teams failing to get the century mark, but I mean, that's just me. All right, so this past week, we had some games that I personally was super hyped to watch, and honestly, I came away feeling how I do about Week 10's primetime lineup. Honestly, a little disappointed. To be fair, all these podcasts have a flavor of how I kind of feel about through each week, which really makes sense. But I had my worst week this past week, and honestly, I've been dragging my feet trying to put this together, allowing other things to take priority. Kids and kind of feeling a little run down myself and problems at work and all that garbage. But, sorry about that, folks. I'll try and do a little better. Maybe a little note-taking on Sundays. But let's get started anyways, huh? So, I stand by my statement I had about the Steelers. They're the worst team with a good record in the league. They play ugly ball on offense and lots of issues with their O-line. Their defense bails them out of games, keeping them in the playoff hunt. The win against the Titans on that Thursday Night Football was not pretty, but it was the theme for football. That set the tone for the entire week, unbeknownst to everybody. I was really pulling for the Titans on that one. Of all the games, the top games specifically this weekend, I was really most excited for the Germany game. Obviously, the time difference kind of, in retrospect, might be the easiest thing to blame, but the Dolphins got behind early and they could not get back on track against the Chiefs. Once Achan's back and Waddle, if he could stay healthy, I bet that they start excuse me. I bet they start hanging up with the good teams. I think it was a letdown because a lot of people would have put over under at the over if given a number like 55 and 60. Honestly, I would have expected at worst a 42-35 final score. I guess not. Hill got stifled. Tua was harassed. Mostert couldn't get anything going. But for that matter, a lot of the Chiefs were kind of in that same boat too. Just kind of I know we kind of mentioned this before the game started, talking with Demagreg, but I don't like those early Sunday games. I feel like it's a unless you have an absolute stud, they're generally, in my experience, is only about one player for combined in both teams that actually does good enough to produce points. Just how it goes. Moving on, Dobbs is truly the pastronaut. I mean, how does he come in, save the Vikings without even knowing the team or the offense? I mean, still getting that victory. It's crazy. I keep saying how good, or at least how not bad, the Falcons' defense is. But to be honest, they've been letting them down the past few games. Outside of conspiracy theorist Jones or Falcons head coach Smith, he won't utilize his best offensive players effectively. Definitely doesn't help. So, as much as the defense can do, if their offense isn't going to score any points, I mean, throw your hands up, man. From the position of one of the toughest position to play in football is quarterback. Just because everything relies on you. And if you have poor play, I mean, there's nothing that can make up for that because you touch the ball every single down. with the exception of Wildcat, but they're not going to run that. This isn't the early 2000s Dolphins. The Vikings have to hope that Jefferson comes back soon. I know he's questionable this week, but Dobbs needs some help. He doesn't want to be running for his life. I mean, legend has it that Calvin Johnson is still open. Even when he's covered, Jefferson can be his version of what Stafford had in Megatron. I mean, who knows? Addison being down there, Hawkinson, they've got people who can catch and beat targets reliably. But once he gets Jefferson back, I think it opens the field a lot more, and we'll give it a little bit more time. Excuse me. Like I said, not feeling well. All right. The Ravens shellacked the Seahawks. Kind of made me sad because it highlights how complete that offense is in Baltimore. Scary. They're slowly, well, I guess less than slowly, they're becoming the front runners for the top spot in the AFC. The Browns shut out the Cards. Honestly, we kind of saw that coming as far as, the Cards not being able to do anything on offense. Clayton Tune being the starter, Connor still not being there. I mean, there was no one in Arizona anymore. I mean, they're banking on what? Maybe flipping Kyler in the offseason for a decent piece and picks to take quarterback? Or do they take a top offensive weapon to boost Kyler? I mean, I like Steve Keim as a GM, but I don't know what they're going to do with that. It seems to be, right now they're poised to take whatever top quarterback or piece that they want. They're not going to take a quarterback if they still have Kyler Murray on the roster. So I guess these next few games are going to decide, first off, draft order, if Kyler does well. Second, it's going to decide whether or not they take a quarterback. Well, we'll see. Moving on to the most impressive performance of the week. Stroud put up Madden-type numbers in this game, to be honest. If you played the entire Texans offense this week, it would have been similar to when you play the Finns offense against the Broncos. What a game for that rookie. He's trying his best to cement himself in the Rookie of the Year convo. And honestly, who else is close? Addison maybe, Puka, maybe a defender like Carter. I don't know. Either way, he's looking like a solid franchise option who haven't had a glimpse of hope since Deshaun in what is rapidly being seen as his prime. I guess Deshaun had an okay week last week against the Cardinals, but again, it's the Cardinals, so don't get too hyped. If he's not back, the Ravens defense are going to expose him next week. So the Cowboys lost to the Eagles, but that really was my game of the week. A lot of guys produced, and no one truly looked terrible. And I know they lost, but Dak and CD are kind of looking like they've regained that connection. Oh, my word. Sorry, guys. They've regained that connection, kind of been clicking recently. The Eagles are honestly the top team in the NFC, but Cowboys are almost certainly going to be in that wild card spot, I would say at worst. I don't think they're going to catch the Eagles, to be honest, especially not dropping that way. Best they can do is 1-1 against the Eagles. They're going to have to win out and hope the Eagles drop some games. But, yeah, the Cowboys, as long as, injuries don't bite them and they can continue playing like this, I think it's looking more and more like Dak is the winner of losing Kellen Moore as his offensive coordinator. I know Justin Herbert's been doing decent passing, but that has less to do on the play caller. I think it's more on the fact that Keenan Allen and Eckler, and they've been able to boost them up in games. I don't think I'm a fan of Kellen Moore as an offensive coordinator. Not for the type of fanfare that he had I think the Cowboys are better off right now. But we'll see what happens. So the Bengals, they beat the Bills. What else is new? Diggs cannot catch a break. Since he's come to Buffalo, they've been considered the team to beat in the AFC, or at least, one of. But yet they still can't figure out how to beat the Bengals or the Chiefs. These are the two teams they're almost guaranteed to face in the playoffs, if they make it there. As of right now, the AFC North is going to the playoffs. Sorry, that was... Man, the AFC North right now has locked up the 3 wildcard spots, and obviously they have a division winner. So the fact that they are the top right now, that's crazy. I really don't think it's going to hold, but I would love it if it does, as an AFC North fan, as it were. All in all, I mean, it just feels like an off week. I know that they had, there are 7 different rookie quarterbacks that started a game this week. I don't think that helped either, even if one of them kind of went off. But I hope these offenses get back on track. All right, so going down to the matchups, the Cleavies lost to SMU. I said I wasn't going to do that. I'm sorry, man. I keep seeing the Apex scoring chart. It keeps calling you SMU. So the Cleavies lost in devastating fashion to P. In what was also the biggest blowout of the week. Almost 100-point difference. Holy mackerel. Huge. Every game was relatively close, except about 30 points is the biggest difference, except for the 100-point difference between. Oh my word. Great game, buddy. I mean, you beat your projections by 62, and I lost my I couldn't even come close to my projections. I had 50 points difference. Holy crap. So, good job there. Let's see, the 08 Lions got their first win playing against Delmezi. They won 99-66. Let's see. The 23 Lions. Both the Lions got wins this week. The 23 Lions beat Whiskers 96-66. There's that 30-point game. Champ won as well, beating I Am Groot 136-128. And for our final matchup of the week, Centerfield beat Bumpo 125-103. Good week, y'all. As I mentioned earlier, this week's primetime games are pretty disappointing. I mean, we just had the Panthers played last night. Again, I'm recording this on a Friday. 13-16, I think, was the final score. Not really something filled with... Sorry. Not the kind of game that really fills you with the warm and fuzzies when thinking about fantasy football. I mean, that being said, these teams are filled with a lot of young potential, more than actual talent, good teams. But there's room for optimism. Browns and Ravens should be good, at least. I hope it's closer than their first game. The Texans-Bengals is starting to look like a trap game for Cincy. Their top 2 wide receivers are questionable. Higgins has already been ruled out against the Texans team that's been surging. I know Nico Collins is already ruled out. But, yeah, watch out for that. The Texans might top the Bengals. That's not good for the AFC North, but, we'll see. Burrow may still pull that out. Niners, Jags, probably going to be really good too. Niners are riding a 3-game losing streak coming off a bye against a team that hasn't lost in 6 weeks. So, yeah, the Jags haven't had a loss. Have had a longer time between losses than the Niners have had a win. That's kind of crazy. Should be good. The Lions and the Chargers is a must-win for both teams. Technically, the Lions kind of have that cushion, which they don't really need the win, but they'll need any win they can get to get them into position for best in the playoffs. Since I've been alive, at least, honestly. I think they're a shoe-in to win the division. Even when Jefferson comes back, Dobbs is going to be looking to, at best, lead him to a wild card, which is crazy seeing, I think the Vikings started 0-3. The Chargers are definitely in need of some wins to try to get back in that position to be in the playoffs. I think they're a few games out, but yeah, they need to win, especially against the good teams. Oh man, I gotta wrap this up. All right, so as far as our league games go, there aren't any top team matchups this week, but that doesn't mean we won't have, that doesn't mean we're going to have all blowouts. I think I'd bet at least 2 of these games go against current projections. We could have some interesting win-loss development start to manifest, and we can start to or keep some streaks moving. Oh, you know what I didn't even mention? I'll mention this. I did not even mention the top players of the week. So we're going to look back here at week 9 stats. Top player, not really surprising, was CJ Stroud. Now, granted, this is the first week I think we haven't had anyone score in the 30s. We had a 40-point game and a 29-point game, so tiptoeing around it. CJ Stroud had 40 points. Tank Dell, 29.5 points. Rashad White, holy mackerel. I'm in the wrong... My word. Give me a second. I'm in the wrong league scoring. Looking all this crap up. That being said, let me reiterate, because scoring is different. Okay, yeah, I take that back. CJ Stroud got 57.8 points, so he still did not get the top score. He missed out on it by just a couple of points, or percentage points. With HN, I think, had the highest point outburst. But yeah, 57.8 points, followed by Dak Prescott with 35, Noah Brown with 33. Yeah, that's... So I stand corrected. There were 2 people that scored 30 points. Jalen Hurts got 29.9. Tank Dell, 29.6. And then part of the issue is it takes 15. While it took 15 players scored 25 or better, most of these guys are quarterbacks. And a lot of these guys were sitting. Noah Brown, I think, was sitting. Tank Dell, I know, was sitting. Stevenson might have been sitting. Rashad White might have been sitting. Maybe not. Probably why he got the huge points. Jonnu Smith might have been sitting. So there were players that I think Cooper was definitely sitting. Yeah. Deshaun Watson was too. So we had quite a bit of people that missed out. Those are the bench warriors for this week. So anyway, all right. Week 10 games should be good. I'm hoping for some better football this week. And good luck to y'all. Hopefully I can record this a lot sooner next week. All right, we'll see you. Peace out.